Yo, so I just want to say cheers.
Salud.
Salud. Happy New Year. It's the end of the year.
Welcome to the new Batcave.
The new Batcave.
What should we call this? Batcave? That's not our shit, right? What should we call it? Right?
I don't know what to call this.
What was that thing called in Justice League? The shit in space?
Man, what was that shit called?
This definitely doesn't feel
White
like
man
a
in
cave.
space?
No, it
It's
doesn't.
the opposite of a cave. This is like more open space than I'm used to. So whatever.
Exactly. Nervous.
Yeah.
All right, man. We
Feel like
got
in the sky.
the usual suspects here. Easy Rose.
Yo, what up? What's
Poloed out. You looking good, man. Good to see my brother. Yo, we got Colfax in here.
Yo.
You remind me of Chicago Rick Fox.
I don't know if that is.
It was
a compliment.
silent.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
This cat Tony.
What the fuck is
being
that?
Yo,
really
that's
fly.
not. Yo, but I'm saying.
Introduction so far. A Chicago Rick Fox.
You don't have Rick Fox had curly hair.
Y'all
and
look
shit.
shit like that nigga Rick Fox.
I'm just saying you drinking a lot of water, man. Your melanin popping. That's it. You know, that's what the young people say.
God
Okay.
Damn.
All right. Let's see.
Open too.
Let's see what happens next.
Yo, man.
We got the OG AD up there, man.
What's good, fellas? Glad to be back on this episode. I've been missing for a second. Newfound
good reason.
dad, loving this new
Congratulations.
job.
Congratulations.
I appreciate
Yeah,
it, man.
dude.
Just trying to raise this young warrior to be a great king, man. But I gotta get him the fuck out of this country for a
Yes,
while.
you do.
But that's another podcast, though.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
And then we got my Queen's brother, Shadow, in the building.
What's going on, y'all?
Southside.
It's good to be back with
Yo,
my
what-
family.
What part of Southside were you at?
Right off of Liberty Avenue, off the Van Wyck.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was telling AD last night, I was like, I'm close to the Merrick. Like, I'm a little bit further up. I'm close to, like, West Side Merrick. But, like, I was just like, yo, I thought you was close to the Guyer Brewer.
Oh, no. I mean, Garber was like, 6 minutes away?
Yeah.
In the car?
We foreign to these Brooklyn people, what we say.
Yeah,
They
this
like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
what language
'cause
are y'all speaking right now?
So what separates?
I know, we might as well be speaking another language.
What
I'm from the state of
separates?
Georgia. I'm still on that. Okay.
Didn't you say? What did you say? Like, what you said? West Merrick.
West Side Merrick.
So what separates West Side Merrick from East Side Merrick? Like, what's the street?
I think Foch Boulevard
Okay.
is the separation from the west side of Merrick to the east side, because that's going closer to Long Island.
Gotcha.
But yo, man, I'm glad you guys made it today. It's been a crazy year,
It has.
you know.
It's been an interesting
And quick.
quick.
Yeah,
It's
it has
not-
been
that's-
quick, man.
That's yes. I don't even know if that's the right word. It's like this shit was vapor. It was a
Oh,
vapor
hell yeah.
year for me.
I feel like that's what happens when it's a good year. It feels quick. When it's a bad year, it feels slow. Couple things been brewing this whole year. Started off, do we believe in climate change?
What?
Do we? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
you know
science
what?
is there.
Yeah, it's like
That is there.
the fact that we're even questioning it is a victory for the idiots that know that it exists and that deny it only because they make profit off
Right.
of it. That's the only reason that they deny it. But listen, don't validate that shit at all. Yes, the globe is warming. It's not climate change. It's global warming. And that doesn't mean that every time it gets hot,
Right.
you know,
It's
that
gonna be
means
extra
that you
hot,
also
extra
have, but
cold.
evidence through, I mean, hell, you need to look at the documentary on Vice yesterday about Paradise. A whole town burned down. Now they're considering not even allowing people to be able to live in that part of the state because of forest fires and things like that.
Right.
And then you also consider things like in India, where they had average temperatures of 112 degrees this summer.
Right.
That's a fact.
You know, you see pictures of people literally so hot they just had to sleep on the, like, stop walking and stop on the sidewalk and just go to sleep. Like, yeah, man, we are definitely in a. And then there was an article that I just read this week in the Times talking about the last time the Earth almost lost everything was exactly what's happening right now. It's
Too much carbon.
too much carbon heats up the oceans. There was a great die-off in the ocean, significant loss of life, And obviously, you lose the oceans, you lose your oxygen, you lose everything on land too.
And we all water, so that
that's,
affects
but,
us.
you know, if you want to look at that, that's really called the Earth killing itself.
Yeah.
Because the Earth don't really need
we
us.
killing the Earth, kind of.
The Earth can't really kill.
Will survive.
We can't kill the Earth. We can
That's
kill
true.
ourselves. Really, if you think about it, it's like, we fucking up the environment for us, but technically, the Earth gonna be here.
That's
they
true.
don't need
It's
it.
not
So,
nowhere.
and kind of.
But he goes back to that thing about do we believe in climate change? Right? Look, here's my whole perspective about like facts don't need anybody to believe in them.
Right.
That's just real.
They're
Facts are facts, right? Unfortunately, humans are narrative-driven creatures. So to get them to start paying attention to the facts, I think the narrative around climate change probably need to potentially be, elevated.
Well, but I think it's bigger than just a narrative because you think about the age that we live in when we have alternate realities.
Yeah.
Like people are really saying like there are alternate facts. There's no such thing as an alternate fact. Something is true or it is not true, right? So when you're living in a society in which it's acceptable and it's commonplace to not question things intellectually, but to question things emotionally,
Right.
there's no way you can be successful as a collective unit when one half of people are like, well, there's no such thing as climate change. When you see Antarctica is falling apart, the coldest place on our planet is melting away.
But see that again, that's a fact, and that's a fact that you can clearly see with your own eyes.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, all of us work in this ad marketing digital game, and what we do well is tell stories. All right, and we get people to sometimes buy things they don't necessarily either need or want, but you give them a reason to believe.
But that brings me to the marketing point of outside of this very seriousness of it, how does this affect how we market or how brands market? Car, automobile industry.
Right.
What else? Like the food we eat.
Everything. I think that we are entered into a time that I hope at least is an awakening where especially millennials and Gen Z, they question things like fast fashion and its effect on the environment. They question things like, do I want even to get a car or even have a driver's license?
Right.
Because of the effect of, one, the payment of the car and the expense of the car, but also the carbon dioxide that comes from from the gas that the car emits when you're driving it.
Right.
Things like that. So all of those things now we're now all conscious to it. And in truth, even those that act as if it doesn't exist, the Trumpers and the conservatives and those that benefit from coal and things like that, transfer, they recognize it.
Well,
what about that brother with
Well,
LeBron, right? I forgot his name.
Which name?
Kyrie Irving, the flat earther, right?
Oh yeah.
Right now, we got a
He
bunch
was
of
trolling
so-called
a little bit.
non-conservative guys. I don't know if he was trolling. B.O.B., right?
He definitely believes in that.
Yeah, B.O.B.
But it's
definitely
weird.
believes.
Like, they've been on planes. You see the curvature of the earth. Right, that the dude from it. He's the guy from.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, yo, son, I forgot they existed. Holy shit! What happened to him?
He became a flat earther, but that's another thing.
He lives on the flat earth.
Colfax said it. The politics,
Yeah.
obviously, there's a lot of money and politics involved,
Tons.
and the last couple months has been kind of crazy in terms of Florida back again with the
Y'all surprised about
with the
that shit?
recount. I am.
Why?
Why?
Nah, I'm not surprised.
I mean, this is nothing new. This happened with Bush too, right?
Yo, just
my-
throw the whole Florida away. Keep Miami and then just toss the rest of it away. We don't need it.
But honestly, my question with not just Florida, politics in general.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you guys about this. Does it need to be marketed better or differently?
Definitely.
Because me, as a person who's not very involved in politics, I felt it was quite difficult to get information on what's going on, who's running, what's their stance on things, and difficult in being lazy, but difficult in the sense of it's not out there in front of you. Like when it's the presidential campaign, it's
big.
articles,
Right.
lists of everything.
Right.
When it's the midterms, it's you gotta really go digging for it, find it, go to debates. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys had an easier time.
I feel like I don't know, voting and election, it feels like a product that we all know is fucked up.
It needs to be modernized too.
Right, yeah, that's my point.
But
that's my point.
It's purposefully that way.
Right? Yeah, that's the intent behind it, right? And I feel like
to deter people from going to vote.
I mean, yeah, true enough. Do we get people? Does marketing solve voting? It could get more people to go and vote. I don't know if it solved the fraud and the system behind voting.
I think it's more about process though. Like in Florida, right? Like they're having a hard time and they going back and they figuring out like, hey, like there's still people like on these ballots have not been counted, right? So like that's a process. But when we're talking about marketing, like there's a lot of companies who've been using like today social media in ways of saying like, all right, we want to get these people in to vote because like you have like all these companies and they're saying like, all right, you know, they're giving people at their jobs like the day off to go vote, right? So like that's a way to do it. And
it should be a national holiday.
Exactly. You got like
you should have a national holiday,
like a 2-for-1 if you go out and vote and if you show my sticker, hey, I voted today. So like, I mean, I think the push to get people to vote, that's one thing. I think that, you know, even if you go back to Diddy Vote or Die, like that's the marketing behind it. But when we're talking about processes, things that we can't handle as men sitting in this room where it's going to be people on the backside in some dark room talking about now, throw those votes away. We don't want those votes.
Right. Which is the real fraud.
What happened in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So now there's an investigation. It's a two-pronged thing.
Yeah. So I mean, you was gonna say?
Yeah, I think that to your point, Shadow, that Ocasio-Cortez is actually bringing this to legislation when she gets in, that it should be a national holiday.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You should be.
Other countries do it on
Yeah.
Sunday or make it a holiday.
It's all purposeful to suppress
on a Tuesday
the majority of voters, which are black and brown in this country, from voting. And it happened for it to happen on a Tuesday. It should happen on a weekend, or it should be a national holiday on that Tuesday. So how about we delete fucking Columbus Day and make that the national holiday for voting? And then also, how about we incentivize it through our taxes? You don't vote, you're not eligible for a Pell Grant. Right. You don't vote, you don't get X amount back. You know, your percentage that you get back is maybe lessened. It should be incentivized so that 100% of eligible people who can vote. Now, Absolutely. What I will say about Florida is, we didn't, or the brother didn't win, and you know, obviously they just pulled the usual Florida shit that they do in Florida, in Texas, and all throughout the South. Yeah. But what did happen in Florida was that all of the ex-felons, or most ex-felons,
can vote now, right?
Can now vote.
I think it's
starting in January, which is massive.
I think it's after you pay all your dues.
You have to pay those dues back and things like that. And if you're not a sexual offender or a murderer, I believe, or a certain type of murder, you can get your voting rights back.
But I'm glad you brought that up, because I think maybe I brought it up when we was on a pod with 1,000, but I think I saw Vice or something on HBO. Bro, that process in Florida was so fucked up and so just demeaning for anybody. It's like you literally go up to a council, plead your case.
It's the governor. You would go to the governor, and the governor would make a decision right then and there on the validity of your claim to be able to be reinstated to vote.
And they would say
one person in a matter of a few minutes,
that's a lot of power, man,
can determine the rest of your life.
I think it was 3. I think it was 3.
Well, it was a 3-person panel, but the governor makes the final call.
It was just.
Outside of policy and you know processes, as Rose was mentioning. I mean, is there like maybe a technology play here? Could something like blockchain solve voting?
Absolutely,
right? Like, I mean, this idea that you know. But here's the thing: it goes back to what Colfax was saying, that these processes are put into place with intent to fraud the whole system.
Right.
Absolutely.
Which blockchain would actually take that away. Right. But the problem with trying to implement blockchain, whoever implements that blockchain still got the power.
Right.
And, whoever uses that blockchain around voting has to be committed to fairness.
Yeah, I mean, it would break...
it's a theoretical thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But it would break the disenfranchisement, right? The whole purpose of disenfranchisement, voting doesn't matter, right? But if voting doesn't matter, they wouldn't keep you from it. So if that's the case, why would someone implement a technology or any kind of system that would help people, right? That goes against like the Koch brothers, and it goes against all these special interests. And you think about like the average voter in America lives 8 to 10 miles away from their voting place. That's crazy. Like, we're fortunate.
A blockchain approach, you can probably do it from your phone now.
Right? Absolutely, but that's what I'm saying. Like, people live far. Think about it. You're a single mom, 2 kids. You got to take 4 or 5 hours off on a Tuesday in the middle of your day. Travel, 30 minutes in both directions. What's more important, voting or taking care of your family, getting that $25 or whatever it is?
There's no reason why, out of all developed countries in the world, that the United States has the lowest voting rates.
Beyond racism.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
beyond psychopathic.
We have devices, right? Like, we have all kind of devices where they pull all this data, all this information,
all day,
everything
from everywhere.
What's the main reason when people say, "Oh, I don't have time," or "I'm doing this, I got to go to work, I got to," like, it's all bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other side of it is it might be the most antithesis to technology and actuality, that they say the easiest way to get more people to vote is by mail. Right. There are already like 8-9 states that only do by mail voting. Right. It's harder to make it to change those votes, because once again, that's a federal crime. If you're taking, if I take my envelope, my mail ballot, and put it in the mail, and then somehow you commandeer it and change that or throw it away, that's a federal crime, one in of itself. And then secondly, that's a way to actually inject new use for the post office,
absolutely,
which is pretty much
definitely
becoming obsolete
dying
at this point.
It's a dub.
Yeah. So if you make the and also it reduces all of this fugazi bullshit about like, oh, this machine didn't work because of the humidity, and this machine didn't work because it didn't. Okay,
right.
You're removing all the machines. You're removing all.
You're removing the issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how about we make it a voting month, and you vote. Right. You get your ballot in the mail. You fill your ballot out, and then you mail it back, and you don't even need to put your name on it. You know what I'm saying? So you get a copy. And then you mail back a copy. So if it ever needs to be contested, you have your copy, just like you get a copy of your taxes, and the IRS has a copy.
Yeah.
So the fact is, and you keep that copy for 3, 4, 5 years, or whatever election cycles need to come and go. But if we all voted off one ballot and you mail that in, and then you have a department of voting, then maybe that then becomes a bit more egalitarian. But at the same time, the goal isn't to make it egalitarian.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. That's not the mission, though. Right. The mission is all about disenfranchisement. The best way you can do it.
Yeah, they need to switch that. But Rose, you better brought up a good point that I wanted to talk about. Multiple social media issues, but Facebook, so it's 2 things I want to talk to you guys about. One, Republicans complaining that Facebook, Google, Yahoo, all those shit basically purposely push liberal news above conservative news.
That's bullshit.
Bro. Like,
they won.
Bro, at the end
with social.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like, social goes the way how social goes, if they have a cookie to track like your activity, right, on a social platform, it's based off pages that you view. So there's an algorithm that they're going to serve you to things that you look at, right? So you're saying that, well, Republicans are saying rather that it's unfair that people ain't fucking with us, and it's Google's
media
fault.
With the numbers, man.
No, I'm just saying it's Google's fault and it's Facebook's fault.
But I don't think it's definitely not their fault. But that leads me to the next social point that Rose, I definitely want to get your opinion on, and I mean everybody here. Disinformation campaigns has been blowing up since Facebook and all that shit happened during the summer. Microsoft, Facebook, and Twitter reported that they found attempts of like people creating disinformation campaigns on their platform. Like, I guess my question is, how does that
First
affect?
of all, who's using Microsoft for anything social campaignable? I'm dead ass serious.
No, well,
I'm curious.
I would say
a PowerPoint.
The deplorable.
No, I would say you could create email accounts on Microsoft. And
Outlook. Yeah, okay, fair one.
And then you could start sending shit to people and be like,
that's
hey, do this.
Because, that data, email data is pretty, salute, brothers.
Yeah,
salute.
Yeah, so email data is pretty huge. And when you talk about Microsoft, that is mostly business emails.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But how does that affect how we market? Because it's like, if let's just say your campaign follows this fake campaign, are people not going to click on shit on Facebook?
Your campaign follows the fake. I'm trying to.
No, I mean, like, if a brand's
You talking about brand safety?
Yeah, like
stuff?
if a brand's ad comes right after, like say you're scrolling on Facebook, you see quote unquote a fake ad for like vote for this person, and then you scroll down and you see a real ad for Pepsi, for argument's sake. It's like as people get less trusting of these social media platforms, especially around voting time, with like China allegedly and Russia allegedly hacking these systems, how does that affect brands? Like, do they just pull back their buy around voting time, or how does that?
I mean, I think it's different ways you could look at it, right? Like, when you go in the market or you're an advertiser marketer, and then it's like you want to connect with these audiences, you want to connect with these people, right? So you're already going to Facebook and you're saying like, hey, like I want to find like interest targeting list, right? So here are all the people that I want to reach, people that they go to these pages and they might click on hiking, right? Let's say hiking. So now that person, if we have Shadow, who might have just looked at some Timberland hiking boots, he was just on some hood shit, but like they think he's hiking, like he's into hiking, then they're gonna come serve him all of this kind of like messaging, right? So I mean, I don't really know if it's impacting in that way, like because I mean, ultimately, like they're gonna push messaging to you that has these specific keywords that are talking to whatever your actions are at that time and moment. And it's like a cookie, and it's probably going to stay within your cache for like, I don't know, 30 to 90 days or whatever. And then
unless you clean your cache?
Unless you clean your cache, and then you're going to continue to be remarketed that way.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. I want to make a point from your previous comment. I don't understand how Republicans could be so mad about the internet, because nobody spends more money than Facebook and Google. Man. That's what I'm saying. No,
it's faked. It's faked outrage.
It's fake outrage. Just this week, Google had had audio release where they had a representative with Republicans assuring them that they're not skewed and that Republican messages are still getting the same.
But that's the thing about Republicans. They are the perfect villain. Conservatives in general, just like any villain in any movie or any cartoon you've ever grown up with, they're always the ones that the hero has to react to. They're always the ones that are scheming and they come up with this diabolical plot that then the hero has to react to. The hero's never the one that's like, all right, I'm saving the day. What are you saving it from?
Right.
It's only being saved from the villain. As such, in real life, you have to react to it.
So without the villain, there is no hero.
Yeah.
So who's the hero of today?
I mean, you have God and the devil, right?
Right.
And you have like
they validate each other.
Bizarro. Like that's just the way to ping pong.
Yeah.
Whenever we have like
duality,
Republicans have it now. Then everybody's like, you know what? I mean, we got to ride out as Democrat now.
Right.
And go,
yeah.
Then I'm
but I don't think it's political at all. I think it's always been one villain, one focus, which is the wealthy or the powerful versus everyone else.
Absolutely.
I mean, but Republicans only have one goal, and that's preserve wealth.
Right.
That's the only goal. Like, I think preserving wealth is even bigger than racism for 9 out of 10 Republicans.
They're gonna choose that over.
They want the money more than
morals.
Right. They want the money more than keeping black people.
Morals means nothing.
No.
So you think the money's? I'm sorry. You think the money's more important than the power, or is the power than the money?
I mean the power is the money, but the Republican stance is we have to preserve wealth for our wealthy people. Right. So they would have that rather than slavery, in my opinion. As long as whatever thing is happening occurs is making money, that's more important than the racial divide. And what's so important to me in that argument is you look at Appalachia, right? All those poor white people, they live worse than black people in the projects. And yet Republicans aren't concerned about them. They're concerned about preserving. Because they need their votes. Yeah. But they're concerned about preserving the wealth, not helping their own kind. So that's kind of like the point I'm making.
AD shared this podcast from the New York Times a couple of days ago on like selling data, and
your location data, right?
Yeah. And not even just that pod was specifically about location data, but it's just crazy, like how much we give to these
platforms,
phones and platforms. I would just say like phones, because like if you think about, like at least 3 companies probably know where we are all at right now.
More than 3.
Yeah.
I mean, by default,
once you
download the apps.
Download the app, right?
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
You ain't got to download the app. Just having a phone, your phone company know you at all times.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's almost like the app don't even need you
do you think
to get that data. They can technically get that data directly from the phone company.
App is the deterministic data.
Yeah, it's the interface to all that.
Do you think these apps and platforms are doing a good job of letting people know, hey, just so you know,
they legally
buying
let
this
you
shit.
know from
They
If you were to ever read
that long
the long ass
it's
agreement,
there.
agreement,
They cover
the
themselves.
10-page agreement.
yeah, the
But if
10
you're
page
not-
agreement that no one reads. You know what I'm saying? You just agree to it and use the
But
app.
if you're not talking about continuously letting you know, not so much. I mean, Google's been trying it with some of their apps, and Apple try to do it a lot. But overall, most people don't pay attention, and most people just, practically, frankly, they just don't give a fuck.
I think people don't care.
They don't give a fuck.
I think it's because you got.
I think we
about
reached
it.
the point, yeah. Where
Like
people don't
I
care.
think people don't care for the same way how like people give their content away for free
Oh,
on
100%.
Instagram.
Yo,
right?
me
like,
and AD was literally talking about that yesterday.
Just talking about that shit
Here's
yesterday.
the problem. Like here's where people start to care when the money starts to flow in, right? So like then when you get to the point you're like, damn, these people are selling my data. Like I really don't care because I really want this app, right?
Right.
But it's like, all right, they're making all this money now. Now they're thinking about, damn, well, where can I cash in at? So if it was an opportunity for people to make money, which I think is something I'll roll out soon, where people are able to make some money off the data that they're selling from their own personal phones.
Yeah.
That's when I think people will start to care more. Just the same way like how we have people on Instagram or Facebook and their influencers. Like that's when people start to tap in and like, oh wow,
Yeah.
like people making money off this shit.
Hey,
So-
I've been contemplating taking all my personal art off Instagram and pushing it back to my URL. Even with this podcast, right? I think at some point we're gonna need to take all our shit off the SoundClouds of the world and put it back on our URL. So we
Honestly,
Get that traffic.
and push that to the different, push it to SoundCloud. But the origins need to come from a platform that we own and control.
in a weird Renaissance way, I feel like that's gonna be the move.
Yeah.
Going in 2019, do we have I'm sure you guys have seen it, maybe even participate in it. Is there like a tech addiction going on now with us younger generations? And like, how do we regulate that? And what does that mean for like your son or my niece and nephew? Because like
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. My niece right now, 3 years old, knows how to use a tablet, knows how to use smartphones. Super intuitive, but that's all she does.
I know what I'm trying to do with my son, and shout out to Garvey and Nicole. Love you guys. What I'm trying to do with him is like, okay, I already know this is going to be his MO, right? Whether I deal with it or not, he's gonna interact with these devices. So I'm just trying to have it where if he got to interact with it, he has to use his voice, because that now makes him have to use his brain, and now makes him have to communicate and have to actually speak. Because these screens takes all of that away, right? Like screens, you literally are doing gestural things, you're tapping. You don't have to use none of your senses. It's just more of a consume thing. At least with like Internet of Things, in terms of using your voice, you now have to use your brain. You now have to use your actual speaking abilities,
Soft skills.
and you now have to actually conjugate some type of phrase to interact with this device, right?
Yeah, 'cause
So
you
I've been
got
using Alexa to read about everything black.
Yeah.
To Garvey, right? Tell him stories and just getting him to understand like this. If he's gonna have to interact with technology, have a conversation with it, because ultimately that's what we need.
Do you think they're gonna be? Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, AD. So I have a question for you. Do you ever think about like you kind of like do like a dual kind of approach where it's like, all right, we have the technology, but then like we have soft skill shit. Like,
That's what I was gonna
here's
say.
a dictionary. Here's a
Oh,
thesaurus.
you're right. If you went into his nursery, his books.
Right.
In fact, I'm telling everybody, anybody that want to like bring him anything, don't bring him a clothes.
Bring him books.
Bring him books.
Like
Bring
art,
him
like
books.
books or soft
He can
books.
have as many books as he want. He cannot have a tablet, and if he want a phone, he got to pay for that, right? But if he got a book, I appreciate that, bro. Bring him books, because in my opinion, a book requires someone to be committed to printing. So chances are, if it's in a book, I'm not saying it's always true, you've taken the time to make sure that whatever goes out the door and get printed, that at least the quality is at a certain point. And it's primarily somewhat more factual than some shit that you can change on Wikipedia.
You know what's so crazy? I'm gonna kind of.
I love it, man.
Basically,
You know, it's kind of crazy, but I'm kind of take it to like
Love
a
that
different
shit.
direction. But like,
Yeah,
if you
let's
think
do
about
it.
like artists today versus like back then, like when you guys were coming up, like you had artists like probably dropped out of high school, but the way that they put things together linguistically. Right?
Yeah,
language,
right?
No doubt. And I mean, if you look at the release of the iPhone in 2008 and the rise of mumble rap, they coincide parallel paths.
Oh, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you used to have to call someone's home, and if your mom was
you had to remember numbers.
Well, you had to remember phone numbers, but also when your mom wasn't home, you pick up the phone.
You had to
Hi,
have a
Mrs.
conversation.
Jenkins. No, my mom's not home. I'm doing well. Yeah, school is good. I'll let her know. Okay, what is the message? Hold on. Let me get a piece of paper and a pen. Okay, I'm back. Let me take the message. Let me write the message down. All right, I'll make sure she calls you. She'll be back and da-da-da. That's an entire conversation that kids today will never have to have, based on the fact, like you said, AD, that everything is through text now. Everything is gestural. Everything is through type and, and so forth. And you don't have that. So the fact is that, yeah, technology is going to affect that. For my son, I'm seeing it he's at 20 months now, and obviously he knows how to use my phone. More so, it replicates.
Wow.
My phone now replicates the television, so it's less about games for him on the phone and more about what he can see.
Visual.
Like Sesame Street is there. Right. Okay, Sesame Street is on the phone, so he's not looking at the phone for like information yet, and that's something that I'm still trying to contemplate how we're going to deal with as he gets more into his world, his friends. Where a lot of, and I'm even seeing this at 20 months, and you're going to see it soon, where his friends will influence what he wants.
Oh, they always going to influence him.
So if everyone in 4th grade is on
a phone,
Twitch or whatever, wasn't it? It's Twitch, right?
Twitch.
Is on Twitch.
Fortnite.
Yeah, rocking. Then he's going to want to be there too, and that's something as a parent that we're all going to have to deal with as that generation, comes of age and so forth. So it's still to be determined. And, you could either kind of extract that child from the circumstance, which is something we're talking about doing, my wife and I, or leave him here and have him be an outlier to whatever the norm is.
And I get it. I think for me, the one thing, because I know, to your point, he's going to be influenced by all the kids around him. The one thing I got to instill in him, like, regardless who you're around, you need to be the leader of all the motherfuckers.
Yeah. Word.
Because if you're the leader, or if you got a leader's mentality, not saying you got to lead them, that means you can have your own thinking, right? Yeah. And then if you have your own thinking, you can determine how you're going to use whatever that's out there, and you're going to use it a little bit different than the next cat, right? So, you don't have to be a follower.
Yeah. So I'm glad you guys brought that up, because that brought me. I mean, you brought me to 2 different subjects I wanted to talk about, but. Is there too much information out here?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And how does that affect, we're in a microwave age where it comes to ads, music. Film, to me, is still kind of has a little craft to it. But, like, for the generation to come, how are ad agencies, clients, marketers going to get through all that when it's, like, literally, like you said, you got your tablet, you got your phone, you got your computer, then you have the TV, and you can literally watch Sesame Street on all of these things. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go to the TV.
No, you don't.
Yeah, so. I think that every brand is going to have to become its own channel.
Yeah.
I think that content, and we call it branded entertainment, branded content now, but all of those brands are going to have their own channel.
That's what Disney's about to do.
Yeah, exactly. Of which, you could, like BMW did 10 years ago when they were doing their films.
BMW films, right? They were so ahead of the time.
Yeah, and it's like, but every brand has got to speak directly to the consumers now through their own channels, through their own content that either they produce or is produced
specifically for them.
Produced specifically for whatever their audience is and otherwise. So, to me, that's the way that you kind of see yourself through all of the mess.
So my question for Rose, like from a numbers perspective, does that become harder to track because you got so many different channels, or is it become easier because the brand is like, all right, I'm gonna just put my message through my channels, and I could easily get the info on this person that's potentially going to buy a BMW. Use that for example.
I don't think it's harder to track. I think what the obstacle is getting people there, right? So like you have to go through multiple facets to get them to the product, right? So to like earlier points about like talking about like BMW and got the film. So like, all right, you don't have to know that this specifically, like the film has to have shit to do with BMW, right? But it's like, all right, it's just one of those things. So all right, so now it's like a checkpoint. It's like, all right, BMW Films, and then where else do we have with content? Like maybe like a channel on like regular TVs, but it's just multi-faceted. Where it's like, all right, now it's gonna bring you to the product. So like, but you have to, you're gonna have to kind of like leverage some of these things to say like, all right, damn. Now I'm here to get a BMW product, right? Like, because, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, all marketing, advertising is just like how many impressions I can get, how many times, like, can you remember my messaging? How many times can you remember my logos, right? So, like, I think that's what it's about. But to your point earlier, all this shit is microwave now. So now we're dealing with all these kids. They have short attention spans. We all know that. So now, how can I grab your attention in like half a second?
Yo, so that was a good topic. What's the expectation for 2019, and just in general?
Trump getting his fucking ass handed to him by these Dems.
That's not gonna happen until.
Nah, that's gonna.
Yeah,
that like
I
they won.
Going to jail.
Yeah, like they won when they take over.
I think when old lady Pelosi went in that room and saw those cameras and they tried to.
What's
get
up
into
with that love and hip hop?
That was strategy.
That
was pure strategy.
She went in there to throw the gauntlet down. Was like, motherfucker, we are not friends. State like when Snoop was like, all right, let it be known then. Y'all don't like the West
Y'all got no love for
y'all don't got no love for Death Row. Same situation. She right up in that situation was like, yo, y'all don't got love for the Democrat. Let it be known then. We're gonna come at his ass. And I think he's gonna be the first president to actually go to jail after his presidency.
Yeah,
that's the goal. I hope. You know, but he's gonna do some fugazi shit in the meantime. Probably take us to war with some shit. And,
I mean,
you know,
I left this topic out, but it's been rumbling in the summer and kind of went under the rug. But we've been going back and forth with China for a minute on tariffs.
Yo, I was just in China,
topics.
bro. They show us mad love, bro.
Oh, where?
Yo, they showed me so much love. They aggressive, meaning like, you know, if the three of us got to go through the door. We gotta go. They gonna get through that door first. You know what I'm saying? They aggressive like that, but I don't know. Like, yo, man, like older people, younger people, they fuck with Trump over there too.
Oh, where?
They fuck with Trump, bro. Yo, one dude was out there.
Yeah, he's a fucking clown.
Yeah, one dude was out there. Yo, I swear to God, like one of my tour guys, the dude was like, yeah, you know, Trump. I think he says things, but he means well. I was like, he means well. And me and this old white dude was looking at him like, yo, we ain't gonna get into this bullshit. You're like, we didn't get into that. But they like, you know, I think with like, you know, Mao and just that influence and like China, like it's communist. The people, I'm talking about the people there, not like the government. The people, they fuck with us, bro. Like all the young people, they see me, they want to take pictures with me. They fashion this like
Michael Jordan.
That shit. Now the shit. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm walking down Soho. You know what I'm saying?
Funny.
So I don't know, but you know.
So just because we kind of breeze over this topic, just so you know, there's still potential Chinese terrorists that could come, and that includes smartwatches, Bluetooth, safety products, bike helmets, child safety furniture. There's a lot of products we get from China that may or may not get tariffs and extra tax because Trump is flexing.
but there's also things that we send to them too that people in America need to be paid for, and this is the result of having a leader who's an idiot. Who, like, what grown man doesn't read? Like, seriously, like how is information not valuable to you? Like, as an adult man. Imagine going to work and somebody's like, nah, I don't like to read.
That email.
I don't want to see the chart. No, can you just give me a picture? Like, you look at them crazy. And this should not be the most powerful person in the world or the CEO of the biggest company or the biggest country in the world. It's crazy.
I think I said this on the pod before. Trump leaves me more confused than anything. Like,
I think that's the point of him.
That's the whole point was to sow confusion and chaos.
He is so fucking confusing.
Shouts to the Koch brothers.
Nah, they don't get no shouts. They don't get no shouts.
Shouts to fucking Putin. That was the fucking who put him in.
Y'all President Putin.
Before we wrap, any highlights from 2018 that you guys want to bring up that you was like, yo, this is crazy.
2018 was
I like
trash.
what it
I'm
was.
good.
Nah, man. I got to give a shout out. I'm rocking it right now. My man Donald Glover. That shit was,
He got
This
a couple
is
of
America.
I know y'all don't like award shows, but he got a lot of Grammy noms for that.
And I'm like, my guy, that was a historically cultural moment.
And we're talking about This Is America.
Yeah, This Is America. The video, the choreography, the rhyming,
the timing of
dropped it, the timing, how he dropped it, everything about that. And then Atlanta itself came back hard. It wasn't a fluke. First season, second season was just as good. And yeah, I just really am excited about where he's going to go next. And when he puts out another album, what that's going to feel like.
Salute to Donald.
Yo, honestly, I was listening to the Breakfast Club, and they had an interview. No, they had an interview with Exhibit, and he actually had a video that was similar to that.
You talking about what you see, what you get? I remember that shit. Yeah.
Nah, I mean,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, just the concept of walking through.
Did he take credit for that shit?
No.
I was.
Nah, they were just like, we've seen a lot of videos that mimic this style of like walking through chaos and shit that's going on.
If you ever seen Dead Prez, hell yeah, like that.
Yeah, that was pretty similar too.
You know what I'm saying? But it's all good, man.
All right. Any thoughts y'all want to leave people with to go into 2019? Y'all some insightful cats.
Protect your neck.
Yeah, that's
I like that.
That's what Rose say? No small talk.
Yeah, man. No small talk. Come and telling the truth. I don't know, man. Me and Shay always talk about this, but like just get your paper and stay out their way, man, because you don't own none of that shit.
Yeah, sure.
Build, dig tunnels, man. No bridges, man. You know what I mean? Get your shit together. Get your people together.
That should be a T-shirt. No, that's dope,
man. Like just
Shadow. Any thoughts?
I'm just trying to do well for my family and for my friends, and be a good influence and inspire folks behind me, and always speak truth to power.
Put people on too if you can.
Oh, always.
Oh yeah, shouts to 1,000. If
Always.
you can't put somebody on in 2019, then you ain't doing nothing.
I mean, my last thoughts for 2018, 2019, going into 2019 is like for like overall brown people, specifically black people, start giving away the culture. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. People take our culture, figure out how to monetize against your culture that people taking from you. Because, people taking the culture, or we giving away, it's both. But monetize your shit.
Yo,
you know what I mean?
I ain't even cut you off, AD. Yo, I was just thought about it. I was in the city about a job, right? I'm in Midtown, and this black dude, he had a jacket that said "rooting for anybody that's black." I thought that
cause that's straight from that's from Insecure.
Yo, that shit was
Issa Rae killed it with that.
I thought that was dope. I was like, wow, all right, this is different.
I mean, it's funny because I know some people be bugging about Migos. I got a bunch of so-called self-righteous,
but they for the culture,
right?
They for the culture.
I'm straight up though, I'm about that mantra,
Migos, bro.
I'm really about that mantra. I'm rooting for anybody who's just pushing the culture, and that culture is not a myopic, right? So for me, if you can get that money off what we do, fuck it, because everybody else getting it. Complex getting it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Right. Hype beast motherfuckers getting it.
And they Asian. They Asian.
Sneaker culture, all that shit is all this shit that's whatever now, we created that. So
fact.
Yo, if you black, go get it.
Yo, when
That's it.
When I came back,
Shout out to Jerry
from China, bro,
Shouts
I
out to that
couldn't
brother.
wait to blast the Migos. Like that was that shit made me feel like I was home.
I definitely want to go to China. Yo, would you go back?
Depend. I would go to a different part. I want to go back to Beijing.
Yo, Jerry, I could buy you a sneaker, but shouts out to you, bro, for actually, like taking your design shit to a sneaker company, they're supporting it, and you actually making money and you selling your shit out there. Shout out to you, bro, for real.
I was just gonna say I definitely want to go for Art Basel, the real one. No offense to Miami.
Oh, you mean real, like
the real
one.
Basel in China? Yeah.
Okay.
All right, yo, AD, you got anything?
I thought it was in Switzerland.
Yeah, no, there's two. There's one in Switzerland. There's one in China, and then the third one's in Miami.
The third one's in Miami.
Yeah.
Yo, why we got one in Africa?
We should start one.
Brothers.
All right, we might cut that out. That's our plan.
We gotta figure out which country though, because we
it's a whole ass continent. It's a whole ass continent.
Let's go to Africa.
Where, brother?
Yo, T, we going to Africa.
Joburg.
Yeah, all right.
Joburg got
1,000. Give us some insights on that.
Yeah. We'll get that cooking. All right, man. Yo. So, shouts to everybody. 2019, we got season 2. We're gonna really pop off on that. And if no other thoughts, I gotta pass it to my man Easy Rose.
But as we always end it, ain't no small talk when it comes telling the truth.
I bet.
Salute.
Peace.